Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mastering the Drop, a real view of recovery. My name is Tricia Parido. If this is your first time joining us here, welcome. I will start by saying we are having weather here on the central coast of California. So if my internet's a little lagging or shoddy, I do apologize. But hopefully we will make it through. Anyway, today it's just me. You just have me today, and there's a very specific purpose for that, and that's because I want to take you through a very special journey, a very special thought process, because the final holiday of the year is here. It's among us, and this is a space where so many of us make decisions to do a lot of things. So we're going to take the year out with a bang, and we're going to do so with the intention of, creating all of this amazing, wonderful change starting, January 1 and all the things, right? So we have our resolution people, we have our goal setting people, we have our life changing people, whatever it is that you refer to it as, you know who you are, right? So today I really wanted to focus on something that I know is the top priority for so many people, especially right now. I mean, I'm hearing a lot, like, I'm going to connect with you at the first of the year, because heaven forbid we start today. But anyway, sober conscious and being sober curious. These are things that people aspire to do. And it's very common at the beginning of the year to say, I'm going to drink less. I'm going to use less. I'm going to whatever it is. And so for the sake of this conversation, I want to change or broaden the definition of sober to include anything that your negative attachment might be for or to, anything that you have a habit with, or that habit, that thing that holds you hostage, that thing that you must have and or do for a specific reason. So I want it to be all encompassing so that I can just use sober without having to say all of that, without having to say, addiction, negative attachment, or habit that's holding you hostage. So we want to look at being sober conscious, whether that's from overindulgence in food, an attachment to sugar, impulsive shopping, excessive alcohol use, and any other substance that may or may not be prevalent in your life. Oh my gosh, look, the sun is coming out for us. Yay. Anyway, so this is the deal. Sober conscious is something that a lot of people want to be and or start their year out as. And so we may say that they're sober curious. We may say, oh, I'm doing a reset. I'm doing dry January. And if you saw my video yesterday, I prompted you all to start thinking about your why. And do you know what that might look like and or feel like for you if, say, New Year's Eve is your last hurrah and on Jan 1 you're going dry? What that might look like or feel like for you, and how you might want to pre-plan for this. Because depending upon your level of engagement and whatever that is for you, withdrawal could be very much a part of what you're going to need to expect. And that's with sugar. Certainly with sugar. In fact, I've worked with some people that their sugar withdrawal is worse than their alcohol withdrawal. So we want to be looking at being prepared for what's going to be coming. And on an emotional standpoint, on a physical standpoint, on a physiological perspective, because there could be There could be dangers. There could be things, and it could just literally be super uncomfortable. Like a sugar withdrawal can cause a lot of really derailing situations. There's nausea, there's headaches, severe headaches. I've seen people actually vomit from their withdrawal from sugar. So we want to be very smart about this. So, and if we're adults, we know that alcohol withdrawal can be extremely dangerous depending upon what level your drinking is at. So you want to be very smart about this. And I really want you all to go into this safely. I can't teach you all of that. I can't assess you effectively here in this space. Clearly, I'm just talking to myself on the screen. But what I can do is I can help you assess. If you reach out, we can go through a quick assessment so that I can help you decide what might be the best approach for you, and should I really start thinking about doing that today, or should I adjust my goals and aspirations for dry January to being, I don't know, dry February, because I have to wean myself throughout the month of January. There are a lot of things to take into consideration. And I think a lot of those considerations that people don't know that they need to take when they're making a significant life change, even if it's only supposed to be for 30 days, it causes us to fail. It causes us to really become derailed in a lot of different areas on an emotional and a cognitive, a spiritual, and a social level. So I think that we would all agree that our New Year's resolutions, or these aspirations that we have for ourselves for the year coming up, were not necessarily created out of an intention to struggle for, emotionally and or physically for a significant period of time at a high level. It's to instigate positive change and make things more comfortable, more satisfying, more fulfilling. So I just don't want you guys to go into the year and get let down. So I just want us to be very specific about this. So I'm going to go through a series of prompts and questions. And so if you don't have a pen and paper, I highly recommend that you get one, or you come back later and listen to the replay. Clearly, the more you listen to something, the more you're going to pick up. So if you listen to this more than once, this may be beneficial to you. And again, write things down, because I am going to be going over some things that I think are, going to be beneficial and extremely helpful for you going forward, to be successful. So the very first step here is that, you've got to know the what, right? The what is this, like, my what going forward is I want to become sober conscious, right? So it's not the how, it's nothing like that. It's what is it that I'm setting out to do? What is it that I'm hoping to accomplish? And just knowing your what is it that's causing derailment, that's causing struggle in my life? What is it that I'm just tired of, that I'm sick of, that I feel holds me back or keeps me stuck, or, whatever. The what, not your how, the what. You need to know that very specifically. And I want you to be honest with yourself, because if your what is, I need to become more sober conscious, and I need to, drink less, I need to be, more mindful of how much I drink when I do, whatever that is, take a look at that, because is sugar also is sugar also a part of your life? Because they often go hand in hand. What about your relationship with spending money? How about people pleasing, codependency? Like, know all of your what's. Don't stop at just one. Know what, look at all of the things so that you can go, okay, now I can look at which is the first most logical step to start with. If I remove the alcohol, what's going to happen? Right? That's the what. I remove the alcohol, what's going to happen? My attachment to sugar is going to increase, right? Like, because my physical body is going to, be craving more sugar. So if my sugar's already there, perhaps I need to do the alcohol and the sugar, but maybe I want to do a wean with the sugar. And anyway, so we have to know our what, not the how. We need to know all of our what's so that we can create the how. But before we create the how, we have to know our why. Why is it causing issue? Why is it that you feel like you need to let it go? Why do I want correction? Why do I want change? Why do I want, to let this go? Why? You have to know your why, because you cannot correct something you don't know why it needs correcting, changing, improving, all of those things, right? We just can't do that. So to help you with your why, you may want to ask yourself, which of these following things are active in your life? Which of these things do you desire to improve? Which of these things have you done some work on and you feel like you've made some progress with, but still need a little bit of love and attention? So I'm going to rattle them off. I'm going to try not to go too fast, but with the sake of time, and also because this is, not an actual webinar or a class where we're going to be doing, big spaces for you to do reflection. I just want to bring these things to your attention, right? Are you struggling with mental reels and overthinking? So the mental reels are those premonitions, those rehearsals, the constant revisiting, the ruminating, the wallowing, the languishing, right? The mental reels, the overthinking. How about your fear of change or fear of failure? Feeling invisible, feeling invalid, and or unheard. How do you feel about your self-worth? Does it feel like it's lacking? Does your self-esteem feel trapped? Are you hiding behind doing for others? Do you avoid quiet time? Do you have a deep-seated need to always be busy or at least be seen as such? How about isolation? Do you find that you long for what others have? Do you focus on what is not right in your life versus what is? Do you find that your emotional sensitivity is at an extreme? Irritability, at a space that just about everything gets under your skin? Do you have agitation? Are you having unnecessary outbursts? Do you experience frustration to a level that just makes you want to run? Do you feel like you're dragging your past around with you? Again, that's that ruminating, wallowing, and languishing in things that you've already survived, right? So now I want you to revisit again that why. Why do I want to let go of this thing, this alcohol, this sugar, this overspending, etc.? If any of these things are going on in your life, right? We have to know our why. Is it causing those things? Or do you feel like those things are causing the other, right? Because if you have a trapped self-esteem or you're in isolation and you find that you're sitting on the couch every night, binge eating the Ben and Jerry's, like we may need to work on that isolation and then we'll watch the Ben and Jerry's just disappear, right? So you have to know your why. Again, we're not jumping into the how. We want to know the what, and the why, so that we can start to figure out the how we're going to correct what we need to correct. But before we can do that, we need to be breaking things down. So when we're breaking things down, it's super effective and very pertinent. We do so into categories. We all have different categories of life. We have home, we have immediate family, we have extended family, we have parents, siblings, etc. We have work, we have with our supervisors, we have our coworkers, we maybe have our subordinates, we have our social life, which also entails family and friends, and then we have our social life that entails all other things, all other settings. So we want to know our different categories, and then we want to be able to look at inside of ourselves first, right? This is where we're going to start to create that proof of action. We want to look inside first, because all of these things that I've been mentioning so far, the alcohol, the chemical substances, the sugar, the impulsive shopping, the people pleasing, the codependency, the always needing to be busy, the overbooking your calendar, whatever those things are, right? These things that we want to have this sober, conscious lifestyle around, whatever your what is, if we can look at and see that what we've done, because now we know our why, we've looked at what are some of the psychological things that we're experiencing. Now I can look at the fact that I have assigned an emotional purpose to these things outside of me. I'm allowing myself to operate in an external locus of control, and I'm not happy anymore. I'm not satisfied. So I'm going back to my what and my why so that I can move into action. And I can do so by saying, I'm going to look inside me first, and I'm not going to rely on something outside of me to bring me peace, joy, comfort, relief, value, validity, worthiness, any of those things, right? So we want to get out of that external locus of control position where other people, places, and environments have that capability of derailing our thought processes, the way that we're experiencing living. That person that cut me off in the freeway is not going to send me into a tailspin where I just want to go stop at the bar and grab a bottle. You guys know what I'm talking about. You can cross-associate and make it your own story. I'm just throwing the whole gamut in here, right? So we want to, that's an external locus. We give our power away when we say, you make me so angry. No, you choose that. You choose that. So we want to look inside ourselves and allow those external things, the what, to go by the wayside so that we can be in a state of action. And to do so and focus on ourselves first without feeling guilty, selfish, punished, or restricted. We have to get in the now, right here, right now, right? Going forward. So now that we've broken down our different categories and we know which category I feel like my self-esteem is trapped. I know which category I feel a deep sense of or a deep fear of failure. I know which category where I feel unheard or invalidated. I know which category I'm longing for what others have. I know which category I focus the most on what isn't right instead of seeing all of the good. I know in which category my irritability is skyrocketing. Right? So we know, so we've broken it all down. But then, now that we've brought it inside and we're looking inside, we have to identify our own behaviors, our own patterns, our own actions, those things that we're doing with regard to our physical health, our social health, our emotional health, environmental health, spiritual health, and intellectual health. What are those behaviors, patterns, actions, and things that we are doing, right? And which of those are the positive attributes in each category? What are the things that I criticize or feel negatively about in each category? What are my aspirations that I have for myself going forward in each category? This is important. We have to know this, because if we think we're going to go into 2022, Jan 1, right? We're going to jump in. We're going to celebrate New Year's Eve. Midnight's going to happen, right? We've already started off on the wrong foot, because if we're going out with a bang, we're already starting Jan 1 at midnight intoxicated. We're already starting Jan 1 at midnight overindulging on food, sugar. We've already started Jan 1 overindulging in whatever it is that we're purchasing, right? Maybe we had to buy like this whole outfit, whatever it is. You get what I'm saying? If we're not at midnight on Jan 1 in our space of how we want to start our new year, then we're already behind the game. So, which is fine if that's the way you set it up. You have to be very specific if we want these things to actually work, right? So perhaps we need to, again, change, shift, morph what our thought process is. Maybe it's not dry January after all. Maybe it's get dry January. Right? For some of us, it'll be get dry January, because if we're starting out the new year and at midnight we're already highly intoxicated, like we aren't going to be dry. We're not going to be dry just because we go to sleep and wake up the next day, right? We're going to have to go through the process. And anybody that's had a nasty hangover knows that they can last a couple of days, right? Depending upon how indulgent we are. So I just want you guys to be super real. Like it's not real to say like, I'm sober. I've been sober since Jan 1 if you're intoxicated at midnight. It's just not. And so we really want to think about that. If you're going to be on vacation until the 3rd, and so you're really not going to stop overindulging on food until the 3rd, it's, again, just make it very specific, right? So you want to ask yourself these questions. What is my long game? Right? Look at those aspirations, those top 3 aspirations that you have for yourself going forward. What is your long game? What is the short game? What is your motivation? Ask yourself, what's my motivation? What may become an obstacle? You have to know what obstacles to anticipate, because they're going to be there, they're going to happen, they're going to show up. What strategy might I use? And for some of us who need a reward, what's going to be my reward? Then you need to know, are the goals that you're setting for yourself attainable? Are the rewards going to be satisfying? Do you have the support that you're going to need? Make sure that it's enough. Do I have the right motivation? And what is driving, this is the most important one, what is driving my need for change? Again, back to that why and the what. Because if we're going to get into action and put ourselves in first position without feeling guilty, selfish, punished, or restricted, we need to get into a space of letting go of all reactivity. No longer allowing ourselves to operate from a space of emotionally being charged, right? We all know what being emotionally charged looks like and feels like. And what we really want to do is step into a space where we can actually start to visualize how we want to see ourselves, how we want to be received by others, how we want to experience living, how we want to receive our environment, and how we want to receive the people in it. So important. So in order to get to a space of knowing how you want to see yourself, you have to know what is your struggle. What is your challenge? What is your concern? What is your stress or suffering? All of those things. What are you seeking to address and create transformation around? We don't have to tackle the whole world here, guys, but we do have to start with what's happening for you today. And if you've known me for long enough, you know that I'm going to tell you, you can't get from point A to point Z without doing B through Y. So it's okay to have long-term aspirations, but we've got to aspire to move from point A to point B before we can move on to C, D, E, F, G, etc. Right? So we need to start with what's happening for you today. Yes, we can effectively plan. We can take a look at what obstacles that we can maybe anticipate. That's effective. We need to know what we believe is causing you to experience or go through this. So ask yourself, what do I believe is causing me to experience or go through this challenge? What do I believe is causing me to experience or go through this space of concern, stress, suffering, struggling? What do I believe is causing me to seek or address and to create transformation? If we don't know what we believe, it's going to be very difficult. So learning how to get centered and grounded in any moment so that we can ask ourselves the very pertinent questions. Right here, right now, in this moment, I feel irritated, agitated, annoyed, frustrated, bothered, inspired, intrigued, elated, whatever it might be. If you don't know how you truly feel in any given moment and what is driving it, how much of it is about you, how much of it is about another, what you can maybe do to either maintain that momentum if it's positive, or what you might need to do to shift it if it's moving in a negative direction, right? If you don't know, how are you going to know what you believe? So I think it's just extremely important that we ask ourselves while we're in this space, how do I want to see myself? How do I want to see myself? Do I want to see myself like a calm, wise-minded, intuitively operating being? I don't know, that would be something that I would say, that would be an answer that I would give. But how do you want to see yourself? And this is a deep question that goes through a lot of transformation over time. So I don't want you to feel like, it's got to be perfect from the get-go. A lot of times people are, I don't know. I don't know how I want to see myself. Like, how can I even identify that? Like, I don't know. How do you want to see yourself? If you want to see yourself like a clear-minded, sober individual, say it. Right? If you want to see yourself like somebody that has self-control when it comes to refined sugars, say it. If you want to see yourself like somebody that doesn't self-soothe through overindulgence in food, then say it. How do you want to see yourself? Because it can grow, change, shift, and morph as you heal. Again, these resolutions that are absolute, like today I'm going to drink my butt off and tomorrow I want to be sober, like very commendable, but there's a lot that goes into that. Most of us didn't just stop one day and have it work. My journey was quite long. Sure, when I decided I was done, I was done. But boy, let me tell you, I put a couple months into investigating my what, my why, searching for the right how. And then even from there, like I've been on a 9-year journey of transformation, and it keeps growing, it keeps changing, it keeps shifting and morphing and expanding, and it's amazing. So how do you want to see yourself? How do you want to be received by others? So when others are looking at you, Do you want them to see you the same way that you want to see yourself? Are you leading by that example? How are you presenting? How do you want to experience living? Do you want to continue living stressed out by the end of every day and having no idea how you got there? Or do you want to experience living in a space where you can step away from that stance of a judger and be open to learning and expanding your consciousness, right? Like accepting, like being able to just be happy to be in the moment. How do you want to experience living? How do you want to receive your environment? Do you want to sit in the meeting room at work feeling like you're being judged by all of your peers? Or do you want to receive that as a bunch of people that care about me, that want our team to be successful and are really just offering support and guidance? I don't know. Like, it could be the same thing. It's all about how you perceive it and how you receive it and what you do with the information and the data. How do you want to see the people in your environment? Do you want to see them as your friend, or do you want to see them as your competition? Like, we get to choose, and you want to be able to look at that. So I encourage you to stick with your desire to be sober conscious as the new year approaches. Whatever sober means to you. Again, we've expanded the definition because I wanted to make sure that it was for more than just alcohol or chemical substances that are mind and mood altering. Because there are process and behavioral addictions that we do want to remove from our life. Again, a lot of us are just, really tired of walking through life feeling overwhelmed with just living. And that can be something very difficult to let go of and to restructure. Believe me, I work with a lot of people that are battling that as we speak. It is really hard to let go of the need to feel right all the time. It is really hard to live life in a space where you're constantly trying to convince people to understand your stance and to bring them into your space so that they operate the way that you would have them operate. Because we don't get to choose that for other people. And so it's hard to be in that space of overwhelm all the time and rigidity and not rely on something outside of us to bring us relief. Like, I'm so frustrated with everybody in my environment and everybody in this community and everybody in the world, or whatever it is that derails you. I'm so frustrated by it. I just need to drink, because guess what? It's going to take that edge away for a little bit. It's doing absolutely nothing to change the way you experience living. It does absolutely nothing to change the way you experience your environment. It just changes you on a chemical level for a very short period of time, and doesn't do anything to help you improve the way that you see yourself. So if social anxiety is an issue for you and all you really want to do is just have a couple of drinks before you go into a social situation or environment, whether that's professionally social or whether it's social with people inside of your community, like, why do I need to change the way I am organically? We've got to know the what. We've got to know our why, and our true why. Not surface, don't say I have social anxiety and that's why I drink when I go out socially. That's part of it. That's not all of it. Why do you have social anxiety? And when you have that why, we need to know the why to that. And it's just a process of picking away at that root shift so that we can be successful. So again, very commendable if you're looking to be sober conscious from whatever it is in your life. I truly support approaching a dry month. I do want everybody to be safe. I do want everybody to be successful. So if you know why you need a dry January or why you need a dry month, ask yourself to dive a little bit deeper and look at, can I truly restructure and change all of the things that I feel like I need to change. In every single category, we went through many. I think I rattled off a good 12 different categories to consider. And in every category. So it's a lot. And it's a lot to think that you're going to tackle it by simply removing booze from your life for 30 days, by simply removing refined sugars from your life for 30 days, by simply, putting your credit card away for 30 days, or, engaging in a rigorous exercise routine for 30 days, whatever it is, right? Like that diet plan for 30 days. Like, sure, it's very commendable, but then what? Now what's next? And if you've been around me for a really long time, you know that that's what Turning Leaves was born out of, was that desire to create a space for the now what's next in any recovery journey. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you, to guide you, but also to make sure that you do things safely and effectively. That's all I've got for you today. Hopefully you got some really good notes. 100% I am here for you. Let's plan effectively. I'm going to drop all of my contact information in the comments below. This recording will also go out onto YouTube, hopefully by the end of the day. So you'll be able to go back and listen to it again. I'm sure that we will share it in different platforms and avenues, but it'll be here. I'm probably going to pin it to the top of the page until next week, so that it'll be easier for you to find. But again, do not hesitate to send me a direct message in Messenger, or send me a text message, an email, whatever. Like, I'm not hard to get a hold of. Reach out. I'm here to help. Talk to you soon. Have a great holiday and be safe.